The storm hit with the raw fury of a cornered animal. Wind screamed, rain lashed the mountains, visibility gone. Inside the Iranian presidential helicopter, tension crackled. Below, the rugged landscape blurred into a canvas of gray. Then, silence. A deafening silence where the rhythmic thump of the rotors used to be. The helicopter carrying the Iranian president and a handful of close advisors vanished, swallowed whole by the storm and the unforgiving mountains. News spread like wildfire, first a whisper, then a roar. Disbelief turned to dread. Across Iran, millions stared at television screens, prayers escaping their lips. The world watched, holding its breath. A leader, a symbol of a nation, erased from the radar in a blink. The initial shock gave way to a chilling question: what happened? Answers for the moment were lost in the wind and the rain. The storm, it seemed, had stolen more than a helicopter. It had stolen a nation's certainty. The first light of dawn painted the mountains in shades of gray and charcoal. The storm had retreated, leaving behind a world washed clean and a silence that was almost unbearable. Search and rescue teams, faces etched with grim determination, fanned out across the unforgiving terrain. Helicopters buzzed overhead, their rotors churning the air, while ground teams navigated treacherous slopes and ravines. Every rock, every crevice, scrutinized. Every shadow, a potential clue. The search was a race against time, hampered by the same brutal terrain that had likely claimed the presidential helicopter. Landslides triggered by the relentless rain blocked access to some areas. The wind, though diminished, still whipped through the canyons, carrying with it the threat of further storms. The rescuers pressed on, fueled by a mixture of duty and a desperate hope. They knew the odds were stacked against them, yet they refused to yield. Every passing hour chipped away at the hope, but they clung to the belief that somewhere, amidst the vastness of the mountains, there might be a sign, a beacon in the wilderness. Days turned into weeks. The initial frenetic energy of the search gave way to a grinding, methodical process. Hope, once a roaring fire, dwindled to a flicker. The world watched as the search continued, the initial shock giving way to a weary acceptance. Rumors swirled, filling the vacuum left by concrete information. Some whispered of sabotage, of a plot to destabilize the region. Others spoke of pilot error, of a fatal miscalculation in the face of the storm. The truth, however, remained elusive, buried beneath layers of speculation and conjecture. The search for the missing helicopter was a testament to human resilience, a stark reminder of the power of nature and the fragility of life. It was a story of courage and determination, of men and women pushing themselves to the limit in the face of overwhelming odds. But it was also a story of loss, of unanswered questions, and the enduring power of hope, no matter how faint, in the face of tragedy. The mountains held their secrets close, and the world waited, holding its breath for an answer that might never come. The silence from the mountains was deafening, but the whispers in the wind were growing louder. Theories, fueled by anxiety and uncertainty, swirled through the streets of Tehran and echoed in the halls of global power. Was it an accident, a tragic convergence of mechanical failure and unforgiving weather? Or was it something more deliberate, a calculated act of sabotage? The lack of a definitive answer only served to deepen the mystery, casting a long shadow over the nation. Suspicion fell on familiar enemies. Fingers pointed across borders, old grudges and geopolitical tensions simmering beneath the surface. Some saw the hand of foreign powers seeking to destabilize Iran and exploit the power vacuum. Others, fueled by internal divisions, whispered of a coup, a shadowy power play within the corridors of the regime itself. The whispers, lacking concrete evidence, nonetheless took root, feeding the growing sense of paranoia and distrust. The Iranian government, wrestling with a crisis of leadership and a wave of public grief, struggled to provide answers. Official statements, carefully worded and often contradictory, did little to quell the rising tide of speculation. The investigation, shrouded in secrecy, seemed to make little headway, adding fuel to the fire of conspiracy theories. The lack of transparency only deepened the sense of unease, further eroding public trust. The whispers in the wind were a symptom of a nation grappling with trauma, unsure of who to trust, who to blame. The disappearance of the presidential helicopter was more than a tragic accident. It was a wound that cut deep into the fabric of Iranian society, exposing fault lines and unleashing a torrent of fear, anger, and uncertainty. The truth, whatever it may be, remained elusive, a phantom lurking in the shadows, while the nation struggled to come to terms with the loss of its leader and the unsettling silence from the mountains. Weeks bled into months, the seasons changing, yet the questions remained, etched into the landscape like scars on the mountainside. Where was the helicopter? What caused it to vanish? Was it a mechanical failure, a sudden catastrophic malfunction in the heart of the storm? Or was it something more sinister, a deliberate act of sabotage, a plot hatched in the shadows? The lack of answers only fueled the speculation, the mystery deepening with each passing day. The official investigation, shrouded in secrecy, offered little in the way of concrete information. Rumors of recovered debris, of black boxes yielding their secrets, surfaced only to be quickly denied. The families of those lost, trapped in a limbo of grief and uncertainty, pleaded for answers, their voices echoing the collective cry of a nation desperate for closure. The lack of transparency fueled suspicion, casting a long shadow over the investigation itself. The international community, initially united in its expressions of sympathy, began to voice its own concerns. Calls for an independent investigation, for a transparent and accountable process grew louder. The geopolitical stakes were high, the implications of the incident reaching far beyond the borders of Iran. The world watched, waiting for answers, while the mystery deepened, a puzzle with missing pieces and a narrative riddled with holes. The unanswered questions were a heavy weight, a burden carried by a nation grappling with loss and uncertainty. The disappearance of the Iranian president's helicopter was a wound that refused to heal, a constant reminder of the fragility of life, the capricious nature of fate, and the enduring power of mystery. The mountains, silent and impassive, held their secrets close, while the world waited, hoping for answers, bracing for the truth, whatever it may be.